Hello, welcome to He's Hot, but Something is Off, the podcast. Because that's also the name that I use for my Patreon now. So, yeah, it's the podcast, the HHBSO podcast. There's a lot of words in that, but I kind of like the acronym HHBSO. It is December 19th. So that means we're pretty much in the holidays now. I don't go into any retail stores. So I don't know how early retailers have started decorating their stores in Christmas decor, slash when the retailers start selling Christmas decor for customers to buy. I don't like going into stores very much. I remember when I was in high school and we would cut class, as we sometimes did, or I think I started cutting class quite often. Anyways, when you're in high school, you go to the mall. It's just a thing that high schoolers do. And I think high schoolers do I don't know what high schoolers do these days. Let's not get off track. When I was in high school, many, many moons ago, often my friends would go to the mall. And yeah, going to the mall was a thing. But as an adult, I generally don't like going to stores. I will go to a physical storefront if something I need to buy, it's something I need right away, or it's something that it's really bad to buy that thing online because you might just buy the wrong thing, like clothes. So I just went to Uniqlo to buy a pair of pants because I needed a pair of pants for reasons that let's not get sidetracked. I go on so many tangents. I know that I go on so many tangents on it, but if you want me to go on one of these tangents in a more organized way in the future when I mention something, just comment in the YouTube section. But I want to be I want to be a little bit less scatterbrained for some of these podcasts, at least once in a while. But basically, I don't like going to retail stores very much unless it's something I need right away, like something my toaster broke or whatever. The last time I had to go into a store because I really needed something right away was I have a Google Chromecast, which is like the streaming device you plug into your TV so you can like watch videos and stream stuff. And that broke. So that night I drove to the local Best Buy to buy a new one because I just needed it. I use it every single day. And if that thing doesn't work, then my TV is useless. So there you go. It was only like $30, so it wasn't like something expensive, but it was something I needed right away. So I drove to the Best Buy. I went into the store, the physical store. I bought it. I went home. I plugged it in. The day was saved. The other time that I went to a store was, I think when my toaster oven broke. I was trying to clean my toaster oven because over time ovens, they get greased and gunked up in something. I got some oven cleaner. And this foaming oven cleaner, if you guys ever used oven cleaner before, comes in this aerosol can. You spray it onto the inside of your oven. It's like, it foams up. You let it sit for X number of hours or overnight or whatever. Then you wipe it off and then magically your oven is all clean. But I actually sprayed some of the foam into one of the vents inside the oven cavity. And I guess I accidentally killed it that way because it just refused to work after that. So I had to emergency buy is the word I use for it, the term I use for it. I had to go to a store to emergency buy a toaster oven. But I use my toaster oven twice a day. In the morning, I use it to make toast for my sandwich, my breakfast sandwich. And actually, you know what? I might use it for every meal now. Because usually, these days, I'll use it in the morning for breakfast to toast bread. And for both lunch and dinner, I'm probably cooking chicken in it. Chicken, maybe some potatoes. So yeah, these days, I think I use it like 3 times a day. So if the toaster oven breaks, that is an emergency in my house. That's a kitchen emergency. That's a sustenance emergency if the toaster oven breaks. I use it so much. I get so much use out of toaster ovens. Those emergency buy situations are rare, once in a blue moon. Besides that, I don't set foot into a store because, especially in the mall, because in a mall, people are looking at things, but they are not looking where they're going. And one of my pet peeves is people that don't look where they're going. Because I want to punch them in their face. This is how strongly I feel about people that don't look where they are going. So annoying. If you ever see me coming your way on a cruise or something, you better be looking where you're going, because if you run into me, it's game over. Like, it's all over. It's just one of my things. Like, just please be aware of your surroundings. Okay, can I tell you something for real? Skincare is not really a sexy topic. No one's waking up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my God, I have to take care of my skin. I know I talk a lot on the podcast, I have a lot of opinions, and I have a lot of advice to give, but if you don't listen to me about anything, listen to me about this. You have to take care of yourself, and you also have to take care of your skin. I believe in it so much, and I think it's such a critical thing that I started my own skincare company, Serve Labs, to serve fun and functional skincare for everyone. And you know what? Not to toot my own horn, but people are always telling me, your skin looks so good, and I can't believe how old you are. Do you know why? Because I've been taking care of my skin for many, many years. But I know for a lot of you, skincare just sounds like another chore. But I want to make it fun. And that's where Serve Labs comes in. Go to servelabs.co, servelabs.co, or follow us at Serve Labs on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and discover how easy and fun it is to treat your skin right with Serve Labs. But anyways, I keep hearing that stores, with each progressive year, they start selling Christmas or holiday decor items sooner and sooner. And that certain stores like the Starbucks or a cafe or whatever, they start putting up their holiday decorations earlier and earlier on in the year. One thing I found interesting, I read a little bit about, was right when the presidential elections here in the US happened in early November, this little news article that I read, that for the people that felt some sort of doom and gloom from the results of the election, one thing they were doing to kind of counteract the doom and gloom that they felt was to put up their holiday decorations extra early. So I don't know if, isn't it traditionally that after Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving is like the commonly accepted time you can start putting up your Christmas decorations? But Thanksgiving itself, US Thanksgiving at the end of November itself, doesn't have any sort of its own type of decor, right? Just general winter stuff, maybe, if you were to put some stuff up for like a Thanksgiving party. I don't know. I've never decorated for the holidays ever. The closest that I've came to having holiday decor in my house was when I had a roommate, and he would break out this tall, very narrow, fake Christmas tree every Christmas. But I don't remember when he would break it out. I think it would be right after Thanksgiving. That's when he would put it out. And he would decorate it, not massively decorated, but it's a kind of small, narrow tree. It's a tree that would fit inside a regular height ceiling in an apartment. It was not a big, huge one. It can't really hold that many ornaments or decorations. But he would break it out every probably like right after Thanksgiving. Probably like it's end of November, early December. That's as close as we've ever gotten to having Christmas stuff inside our house, was that Christmas tree. Mom would do Christmas lights for our house. So we used to have this massive-ish house, like pretty big house, but we had all us kids and everything out in the suburbs, 2-car garage, all that jazz. And there's like a little patio at the front of the house that we never used and never went onto. And there's kind of stairs that led up to the front entrance, and it's got railings. So Mom would put up these Christmas lights on the railings for the front steps and also this little front patio. And we also had an upper patio on the second floor that was like in the middle. A little patio also that we never ever went out to. And she would put some lights there. On my Patreon, plug, there's going to be a travel vlog from when I visited Mom in Vancouver a couple of weeks ago, early in December. I went up to Vancouver to visit Mom for her birthday. She just turned 70. And in that vlog, there is a part where I took her shopping just to buy some stuff, and she wanted to buy more Christmas lights. And I mentioned in there that she likes to buy the multicolored Christmas lights. Christmas lights you buy these days are like the tiny little LEDs. But back 20-something years ago, didn't have the LED lights were not as popular. So you get like the big bulbs that are like 2 or 3 inches long, like the candle shaped, long, oval kind of bulbs. She got the ones back then, they were multicolored. I guess when you think about it, yeah, like, Christmas are like, the Christmas lights could be like red and green and blue or whatever. But I never thought our house looked like Christmas. Our house looks like the fun house, the clown house, because the colors just look like fun house circus colors. So a couple weeks ago when I was up in Vancouver, she wanted to buy more lights. I was trying to nudge her to buy white lights. Because pretty much all her lights still days. She's gotten new lights over the years. And her house now, she downgraded. Us kids have all moved out. She's got a cute little townhouse, and there's like a tiny kind of front yard. So it's like less lights that she needs, and she's got different lights now, the little LED ones that everyone has. But they're still multicolored lights, so it still looks a little bit like a fun house. That's I don't know. When you see multicolored Christmas lights, red, green, blue, yellow, does that ever look like Christmas? When you have too much of that, it just looks like a circus, like you're about to go into the clown house. That's what it looks like to me, or that's the impression I got when we were growing up, and that's the house I came home to. Anytime it was nighttime, and it was during the Christmas time, and the lights were on. So I was nudging her 2 weeks ago, like, oh, like you have multicolored lights, that's fine, but buy some of these, just buy some white ones to contrast and to balance it on. She's like, no, I like the multicolored ones. I was like, oh, I can't argue with mom anymore. I don't argue with mom anymore. She's 70 now. When she turned 55 or 60, I already made my peace that, like, I don't argue with her. Like, if she wants something, just buy for her. That's my experience with the holidays. My family, we don't celebrate Christmas. We're like a typical kind of Chinese Asian family. We're not religious. Well, my mom is Buddhist, but none of the other. Well, I think my sister Christian or Catholic or something like that. I don't know. But when we were growing up, we were not otherwise religious, and we didn't celebrate. It wasn't anything we celebrated. Christmas was not a day that we celebrated. But what I have noticed is in certain cities, especially in a city like in LA, where there are quite a lot of gays in parts of California, in San Francisco and in Los Angeles, for example. And a lot of the gays, just to take these two cities, these two areas, a lot of the gays that live here are not from here. A lot of the gays moved here for work, for personal reasons, because they want to be in a really gay-friendly area, but a lot of them didn't grow up here. Their family wasn't, in San Francisco or in the LA area or in SoCal. So you get a lot of transients. I don't know if the transient is like the accurate word, but transplants, I think, or transient are words that are thrown around. But basically, you have a lot of gays living in these areas that didn't grow up here. They moved here when they were adults for whatever reason. So during the holidays, gays don't necessarily go visit their families, their blood families. For Thanksgiving, for example, which I think is probably the one time of the year people are most likely to travel to visit their families. Me and my friends, we've always done Friendsgiving. Friendsgiving is very popular amongst the gays for the Thanksgiving time. Me and my friends, we used to go to PV, Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. I haven't done one recently. But we used to go there quite often. There were several years where we went down to PV for Thanksgiving week. There's I think they had a circuit party, or it's like a party weekend for them down in PV. It was like a nice thing for us because that group of friends that I traveled down there with, we were all in that same situation where we had good relationships with our parents. For example, it's not like we were disowned or anything, but it wasn't to the point where we wanted to visit them during Thanksgiving. It could be for a few different reasons. My family is Canadian, and they're up in Canada, and Canadian Thanksgiving, it's in October, and it's not as big of a deal as U.S. Thanksgiving, which happens in November. Yeah, so this big group of friends, for various reasons, we would just do Friendsgiving. We all lived in San Francisco, in the Bay Area during that time. Yeah, we would just go have a Friendsgiving. We'd be thankful for our chosen family. I haven't done any sort of a Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving specific trip in quite a while. I know I just went on this Thanksgiving cruise, but besides the cruise happening during Thanksgiving, there wasn't anything Thanksgiving-y about that cruise. One of the restaurants did have a Thanksgiving menu, so there was like turkey and that kind of stuff, but that was it. And going into like Christmas, the holidays, yeah, I don't do Christmas. I don't know if a lot of gays do Christmas. Some gays do, some gays don't. I guess it maybe depends on if you were used to celebrating Christmas when you were growing up. I feel like you were used to celebrating Christmas with your family as you were growing up. It's probably something you got accustomed to. It just kind of sort of became a tradition for yourself, even if you're not religious. So like my friend that I said, my roommate that I used to have, he's not religious per se, but he grew up celebrating Christmas with his family. The family would decorate the house. They would have a Christmas tree. They would do stockings, and it was just something he liked and he was accustomed to. So, when we were roommates, even though he wasn't religious, we would have the Christmas tree and have the stockings. So it was kind of a fun thing to do. But yeah, also for New Year's as well, I have spent, and I'm not ashamed to say this, there have been New Year's where I didn't do anything. It's me personally, I don't feel like New Year's is like that big of a... I remember back in, I think this was, let me count the years. This would have been 2012 going into 2013. Yeah, so New Year's 2013. I remember I was just sitting on the couch not doing anything at home. Yeah, it wasn't like a thing for me to I don't have to go to a party to ring in the New Year and get all drunk and whatever and do all that. Yeah, so there have been years where I will just, it's just another day for me. It's really nothing that special for me. And I don't know how many people can agrees with that, don't agree with that. I feel like there's a lot of people where the holidays, and maybe for the gays is a little bit more so because, they might not be as close to their family as, straight people. Where the holidays is just kind of sort of, whatevs. Yeah, there's Christmas music everywhere, just holiday decorations everywhere. There's Christmas movies on the TV or Netflix or YouTube or whatever. And yeah, there's New Year's, but it's just kind of sort of there's time off work or time off school, and that's the more alluring. For me, it's always okay, I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't care that much about New Year's, but to have the time off of work, I'll take it. That's fine with me. But yeah, I feel like there's probably a sizable amount of people where they're just spending the holidays alone. And that's not, everyone thinks being alone is such a negative thing. I think it's another society thing. I'll go on that rant later, or maybe on some future podcast episode. If you guys want to hear it again, comment down in the YouTube comments what you would like to hear about in the future. But yeah, I don't think spending the holidays alone is a bad thing. But I'm also very independent, and I like my alone time. If you give me food, electricity, and internet, I could do very well for many weeks. At the beginning of the pandemic, the first few months, I was pretty happy. I got all this alone time, which I love, and no one else had anything to do, so I didn't feel I was missing out on anything. Being stuck at home is very tough for a lot of people. I'm such an introvert, and I'm such an independent person, and I love my alone time so much that maybe it's not the most healthy thing, though, but I really liked it. I really like just staying at home all the time when the pandemic first hit. But that's the kind of person I am. But I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of to spend the holidays alone. If that happens to be a situation. I've spent holidays alone and I didn't care. I loved having my alone time. Yeah, watch wherever I want on the TV, eat whatever I want. I still go to the gym. So I noticed at the gym here, that gym that I go to anyways, they posted their Thanksgiving hours leading up to Thanksgiving, and there were not any days where they actually closed outright. Even on Thanksgiving Day, I think they were open 7 or 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. I know that's a close early for Thanksgiving, fine. They just posted their Christmas hours. I didn't look at it because I'm about to fly out of the country and I'm going to be overseas doing things, which I'll get into. I'll update you guys on my travel plans. But yeah, I noticed that they were not closed on, I think they closed on Christmas Day. They might not even be closed on Christmas Day. I think they might be open limited hours on Christmas. But I feel like gays in West Hollywood, they would still want to go to the gym even if it was Christmas Day. Because again, Gays tend to just stick around for the holidays, not like they're not necessarily flying home to see their family. Hey, when was the last time you really took care of your skin? The skin is the largest organ in the whole human body and is doing so much for you. It protects you from germs and cooties. It keeps you warm when you're cold. It keeps you cool when you're hot. It's making vitamin D. It gives you the gift of touch and sensation. And that's just scratching the surface, so you better take care of it. I started my own skincare company, Serve Labs, to serve fun and functional skincare for everyone, so that you can serve fun while serving face. Go to servelabs.co, servelabs.co, or follow us at ServeLabs on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and discover how easy and fun it is to treat your skin right with Serve Labs. It's kind of nice in the sense that, I don't know if I'm going to explain this very well, very clearly, but I'm going to try. It's kind of nice when you have like a break from work, because work tends to give you holidays, days off during like Christmas and New Year's. And then everybody is kind of sort of most people are kind of sort of doing Christmassy things, and therefore businesses, they slow down a little bit. You don't have so many people bugging you for things, I guess, that it's almost like, because people are so preoccupied with Christmas and New Year stuff, the world kind of slows down a little bit while you have some time off from it. You know, have you ever wanted to kind of hit the pause button on the world around you just to have like a break from everything? I feel like for me, the last couple of weeks of the year in the thick of the holidays is not a pause button, but it's kind of sort of like a slow everything around you down a little bit so you can have a bit of a breather from like the external world. My inbox doesn't get flooded with as many useful / mostly useless emails. You know, I don't get as many people messaging and pinging me about things. Business in general is slower, but that's kind of a good thing because there's like less work, less business stuff to do. And it's like the only time of the year where I can depend on a lot of other people because they're doing Christmas and they're doing the traditional holiday stuff, that they bug me less, individuals and businesses alike, that I get to have a little break from like the rest of the world. I don't know if this is a concept that I'm explaining super clearly or that a lot of you can relate to, but yeah, I guess in that way, that's how I celebrate the holidays. You know, some people, they have Christmas parties and Christmas decorations, and they wake up to gifts under the Christmas tree on December 25th. I celebrate it differently. I don't do gifts. Most of my friends don't do gifts. But I kind of appreciate that because everyone else is so preoccupied doing Christmas and New Year stuff that I get to take a bit of a break, a small little bit break from the rest of the world. As someone who's an introvert and loves my alone time, but it's the normal everyday, you know, when it's not a holiday or whatever, when it's just like a regular day in a regular part of the year, which is like 95% of the calendar, everything's so go, crazy, crazy, crazy. Lots of emails, you know, like business stuff, work stuff. The world today we live in is like everything has to be done yesterday, you know, like instant gratification, everything is moving in that speed. That to have the whole world in a way slow down around you for like a couple of weeks around the end of December, I really appreciate that. Okay, I hope that made sense, because sometimes when I do a podcast and words come out of my mouth, I'm not sure it makes sense, but I've tried really hard to explain that concept, and hopefully you understood what it is and some of you can relate. On that topic though, there's not going to be a podcast next week because I'm going to be taking a break and I'm going on a holiday. So I'm going to go down today. This going up on the 19th. Yesterday, if everything goes up to the plan, obviously I'm not recording this on the 19th. This is pre-recorded, by the way. I am going to fly to Sydney to visit some of my friends in Sydney that I haven't seen in a while. So I'll be there for X number of days. Then right around Christmas-ish, I'm going to go to Bangkok to from some collabs and spend a few days there. But I'm probably gonna fly back on maybe New Year's Eve because again, I'm not looking to go to some gigantic New Year's Eve party or whatever. I just want to get back home and fly back when it's going to be cheap. So I'm going to be closely monitoring the busyness of the flights. And that's the same reason I'm going to fly from Sydney to Bangkok right around Christmas Day-ish, give or take, just to get the cheapest airfare and to fly in the days where it's less busy. Because again, I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate New Year's necessarily. I just want to fly on the days where it's a little bit cheaper to do so. There you go. So that's why next week on the 26th, I've decided to give myself a little bit of a break because while everyone else is doing Christmas, I'm going to do me. So next Thursday, we will not have a HHBSO podcast, but we'll be back on January the 2nd, 2 Thursdays from now. And it's going to be the first podcast of the new year. And I'm going to tell you about some of my New Year's resolutions / we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions in general. So come back in 2 weeks. And until the new year, bye y'all.